Greetings and salutations. Thank you for lending an ear to the voice of the times. This Monday, December 6, 2021, for today's editorial, Keeping Outlook Bright Despite Omicron Threat. While the emergence of the Omicron variant reminds us all that the COVID-19 pandemic is not yet over, we should maintain the economic recovery underway and the outlook for 2022. Governments, along with health experts around the world, are jittery about the new variant that has been detected in at least 38 countries. For now, the Philippines is not among them. But for the sake of prudence, health authorities and the public at large should be more cautious and assume that Omicron might already be here. After all, detection typically lags behind the spread of transmissible diseases. Being cautious, however, is different from overreacting. As mentioned in a previous editorial, reimposing face shields seems wrong and ineffective. Also, we do not favor a heightened alert level at this time. Instead, the countermeasures against Omicron should be balanced with other interests, particularly economic. Accelerating vaccinations, including booster shots, is a good start, and the health authorities should be applauded for that. Still, more people should heed the basic health reminders such as wearing face masks properly, avoiding crowds whenever possible, and washing hands often. Not everyone seems to be listening though, based on general observation. There are even reports including news clips of some political candidates attracting large crowds in motorcades and other campaign events. While there seems to be enough consensus people to keep new COVID-19 surges at bay, the importance of responsible behavior cannot be stressed enough, particularly from those seeking leadership posts. Neither the vaccines, including the booster, nor adherence to the protocols should be viewed as a license to behave as if COVID-19 has already been eradicated. Taking risks should be limited to things that matter, such as time with family and activities that contribute to economic recovery. Economic front. Based also on observation, the recovery of consumption seems assured, despite the recent COVID-19 surges. That is promising because consumer spending accounts for 70% of the total economy, or gross domestic product or GDP. Our only concern here is that more people should be mindful about wearing their face masks correctly when out in public. The greater concern is for tourism, which may suffer the most because of Omicron. In 2018, tourism spending contributed 12.7% to GDP, according to the Philippine Statistics Authority or PSA. Obviously, the pandemic eviscerated the global tourism industry, which has lost $4 trillion since the outbreak, according to the United Nations World Tourism Organization. Tourism in the Philippines showed signs of resilience, contributing 5.4% to GDP in 2022, the PSA reported. This figure may be attributed to the decision to use hotels and motels as quarantine facilities. With alert levels lowered in many places across the country, domestic tourism needs to pick up the slack for the sector. Rightly so. The country's international gateways should remain tight. Many rural areas, especially in the Visayas and Mindanao, still have low vaccination rates. Also, discouraging outbound tourism for now not only makes sense, but it could also help start the sector's rebound. After all, the Philippines is not lacking in attractive tourism destinations that are also accessible. We were criticized for making a similar argument in an editorial last year. While we concede that the timing then was poor, the argument remains valid. Tourism could be the third leg of economic growth. The other leading drivers of economic growth in the Philippines have been remittances from overseas Filipino workers or OFWs and income from the business process outsourcing sector. Each contributed about 10% to GDP. Of course, pandemics are the bane of tourism, but we are confident that the authorities here and elsewhere will eventually learn how to manage COVID-19 better. Meanwhile, we should do what we can. That includes supporting local tourism and at the same time behaving responsibly by getting vaccines and booster shots as early as possible. And even then, people should refrain from risky behaviors and follow the health protocols. If we are able to maintain the recovery of tourism, then other less vulnerable sectors of the economy stand a better chance this holiday season and in 2022. And that's the editorial for Monday, December 6, 2021. For more news and information, get a copy of the Manila Times on print, subscribe to our digital edition, or log on to www.manilatimes.net. Follow us on Twitter, Facebook and Instagram and listen to The Voice of the Times.